I'm Krishna Singh.
Sorry?
Namaste. I'm Krishna Singh. I can't get on.
Oh, namaste.
Namaste.
All right, now you're here.
Pardon? I'm calling from Toronto.
Oh, welcome. Namaste.
Namaste. I can't get. I've been trying since 9 o'clock and can't get on.
Yeah, sometimes it is difficult. Yeah.
Has the program started?
We're just getting started. We had the introduction round, so if you can also introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Krishna Singh from Toronto, Canada.
And what is your background in Sanskritam? Have you studied any Sanskritam before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You sent me some information to join free conference call. If I click on that, or I click on the free conference call download, I still can't get on either of those two.
All right. Okay, I think there's some disturbance on the line. Yeah. So we're getting started, so you can keep your line muted unless if you have any questions. Right now there are few people. You can just in between you can unmute and ask. And if it is,
I can't get on. The program is now opening. Which one do I click on? It says internet browser join. I click on online meeting. I still don't get it there.
But we can hear you. So you are already into the conference. We can hear you. Just be online.
It says join online meeting, and then Chrome users, Safari, Firefox, and Edge users come down. Join meeting. So I don't know what to join or what to do here. I've been clicking. I have Chrome and I have Safari, both of them. So
if you have Chrome, so there are a couple of ways, right? If you have Chrome, if you go to that free conference call, you can join it online also. So right now, how you called here? How did you call? How did you get into this call?
Because you sent me an invitation, I applied, and you responded and sent it Sanskrit.
Yeah, so talking about Karakam here. I think good to see you, a lot of people here. Karakam is an interesting topic. And this Karakam is actually topic in Vyakaranam. I'll be using English and in between Sanskritam if needed, just to keep it simple. And the understanding is clear. So some of you already know what is Karakam, and some of you are already teaching Sanskrit classes, which is great. And some of you already gone in deep into or studied a few topics in the Vyakaranam of Sanskritam. Right? And like Sandhi, Samasa, or Namapadam, etc., Kriyapadam, etc. So overall, you have some idea. And all these topics like Sandhi, Samasa, Namapadam, Kriyapadam, all these, right? So it sounds like they are like complicated, so complex. What is this? How am I going to study this? It could be something difficult matter, a difficult topic. So, and sometimes we don't know, or we don't know what it is actually. But however, we all use this. We use the language, right? We use the language. We use sentences. We form sentences. We speak, or we write, or we read. So all these are already there in the language. But only Vyakaranam gives or gives a specific name and makes them into creates topics to study the structure of the language. So, for example, when we say a sentence, who can form a sentence here? Sujata Bhagini, can you make a good sentence? Like with 3-4 words in it?
Namasarvebhyaha.
Okay, that is one sentence. Soumya Bhagini?
Maya Sanskrit Bhasha Sanskrit Bhasha Patitum Ichhami.
Aham Sanskrita Bhasham Patitum Ichhami. Uttamam. So this is a sentence here, Aham Sanskrita Bhasham Patitum Ichhami. When we say that, there is already Sandhi will be there in that, and Samasa will be there in that. We easily keep on using such sentences which we may not be aware of. There is a Sandhi there is Samasa there, and because, for example, Sanskrita Bhasham, so this is a Samasa is there in that. When you say Aham Sanskritam, there is a Sandhi in that. In the Sanskritam also there is a Sandhi in that. Right? So we keep using that, but we are not aware. We may not be aware of those different grammatical structures there, which we don't need to be aware to use a language. For example, when we use our own native languages or mother tongue, we don't study Vyakaranam, right? We don't study grammar. Maybe academically in schools it may be introduced, but generally we start speaking it from the childhood, hearing it from others. So we start speaking, we don't care, we don't know what is grammar actually. Is there something called grammar? What is that? So, however, coming to Sanskritam, what happens is this, grammar becomes important, because one thing is that it is not a native language of anybody, I think, and having this structure to it brings it to a certain standard. So we all of us who are interested in studying Sanskritam, speaking Sanskritam, we use same structure, similar structure, so that there is a certain standard. And also how to use this different parts, or how to form a sentence, it becomes important to know. So these are all helping or supporting structures. The grammar itself forms a supporting structure. So one of them is Sandhi and Samasa, etc. So the different topics are there. So Karakam is also one of those such topics in grammar, which talks about, as Jayamoda said, it talks about structure of sentence, right? Which is important. This is because if you look at here, coming to this list here, what is the basic unit of a language? First of all, what is a language? If you think a little bit about it, what is a language? Analyze, think about it. What is a language? Shobha Bhagini, in your mind. As
means of communication made of
right,
words,
exactly.
Meaning and put together in sentences. With
yes.
It has, as Mahodaya said, grammar in it, but not realized.
Yeah, great. So it is a means. Language is a means of communication put together using sentences. So exactly, that is the thing. So basic unit here we are talking is a sentence. Basic unit of a language is a sentence. That means when we say language is a means of expression or means of communication, the basic unit of communication is sentence, which is in Sanskritam we call it Vakyam. So and Vakyam is made of what? Vakyam, a sentence, is made of what?
Words. Shabdam.
Yeah, words. Shabdaha or Padam. So, Padasamuha is Vakyam. So Vakyam is a collection of words. Just for a fun here, don't take it wrongly. I just remember there was a quote somewhere I read. Marriage is not a word, it is a sentence. But however, coming to this Vakyam here is Padam, is made of Padam, Padarashihi, right? But that means Padam, having a Padam itself doesn't communicate anything, at least not completely. Right? So Vakyam is a unit, basic unit of communication. To communicate what you want to say or what you intend to say, to express what you want to say, Vakyam is a basic. So Vakya has to be there. And Vakya is made of many Padams, one or more Padams. And then Padam itself is made of Varna. Right? Varna. Varna means what is Varna?
Akshara.
Aksharam. So maybe English loose translation could be alphabet, which is not exactly the same. Varna, which is like a sound, basically sound, and then Pada is made of series of sounds, and sound which originates from that phonetics, right? I think phone. I don't exactly know what is in Sanskrit. So phonetics are based on that sounds. Varna and then Padam and Vakyam. Now, based on these different units here, Varna, and if you remember in Sanskritam, there could be sandhis. Sandhi means joining. Joining of what? Joining between what is called a sandhi?
Varna seva.
Varna. Joining between two varnas is sandhi, and joining between two padams is samasa. Right? So at different levels, these different grammatical structure or topics are established here. So between two varnas, there is a sandhi happening there. So there is a branch to study sandhis, and then there is between two padas or two words, they could be joined to study that. We have a branch called samasa in Akaranam. So sandhis examples are, for example, Jagadishaha. So in that there is Jagat plus Ishaha. Then what are the other examples for sandhi? Anyone?
Devalaya.
Two different words.
Namaste is also sandhi.
Deva.
Right. Namaste. Right. Yeah, namaste, namastubhyam. Athva kimaste, Ramosti, Gopi. So these are different examples for sandhi. Similarly, for a samasa, where there are two words are involved and they become they come together to form a single word, new word, that is samasa. The examples are, one was again Devalaya, and because there is a two words in that, Deva and Alaya, together they form one word, Devalaya. And then what? What else?
Vrikshamulam.
Vrikshamulam. Jagatpatihi. Jagadishaha. So, Karapatram. So these, a lot of Samastapadam. The single word is called Samastapadam. The process is called Samasa. So a word or a branch of study for samasa. Now, in a vakyam, coming back to again vakyam, vakyam, again we said it is the basic unit. Now there are few technical terms I have listed here which are useful to know before we move forward. The technical terms in the grammar. So these are grammatical terms like Pratipudicum, Subanthum, Tingantam and Krudantam. Just we don't have to know them in detail, but at least some idea of what these are. So when we talk about when we talk about Karakam next, then somewhere sometimes we use these which will be useful. Okay. So Pratipudicum, before that let's say Subantham. What is Subantham?
Namapadam.
Namapadam. What are the examples?
Rama.
And?
Sita.
Do
Vanam.
you have Agini, you want to say something?
Is it the swara ending? Subantams?
Subantham is any Namapadam.
Any Namapadam ending in swara or not?
No, doesn't matter. Ending in swara, whatever. So, any Namapadam. Let's take a Vakyam first. Example of a Vakyam. So, let's say Soumya Bhagini. So, just give us a Vakyam.
Aham prata kale uttisthami.
So here I am going to write here. I'm just going to write here. Aham pratah kale. That is not right. Pratah kale uttisthami. So this is a sentence. So we are conveyed the meaning. So what Bhagini want to say, want to convey the expression. So this is a Vakyam which has how many words in this?
3 words.
3 words are there. And which are the Subantas and which are the Tigantas?
Uttishtami.
Uttishtami is Tingantam.
Uttishtami is Tingantam. Tingantam is basically a Kriyapadam. One which indicates a Kriya, which is a Kriya Padam, a Kriya or a action in a sentence is a Kriya Padam, and the Kriya Padam they are called Tingantam, is a grammar term in Sanskritam. So Kriya Padam is called Tingantam. Kriya Padam can be in any tense, right? It could be in Bhutakala, Bhavishyat Kala, Vartamana Kala, or other like Lot Lakara, Uttishtatu, etc. Then the other 2, these are Namapadam. Aham and Prathak Kale, these are Namapadam. And Namapadam, they are called Subantam in Vyakaranam. So Aham is one Subantam, Prathak Kale is another Subantam. And similarly, anything like Ramaha Vanam Gacchati. So Vanam is Ramaha Vanam, both are Subantam, Subantapadam. And then Gacchati is Kriyapadam. What else? Nadi Parvatat Pravahati. The Pravahati is Tingantam, Tingantam, Kakagaganga, Tingantam. And then Nadi is Subantam. Parvatat is also Subantam. So anything, any Namapadam is termed as Subantham in Sanskrit Vyakaranam. Another example, if you take Balaha Uchchaihi Pathati. Balaha Pustakam Uchchaihi Pathati. Balaha Shlokam Uchchaihi Pathati. So there Balaha is Subantam, Shlokam is Subantam, Uchchaihi is Subantam, and Pathati is Tingantam. Again, in this is the Subantam and then Tingantam. Then let's see what is Pratipadikam then. Pratipadikam is base word of Subantam.
Right.
Subantam, for example, we talked about in the Aham. For example, Aham, right? Aham Pratah Kale Uttisthami. In this case, Aham is a Namapadam, and what is the base word of that Subantam or Subantapadam? What is the base word of that Subantapadam?
Asmad.
Asmad. So we have Asmad as the base word of Aham. So this base word is called Pratipadikam in Sanskrit. Again, a grammar technical term, Pratipadikam. And similarly, Prathak Kale is a Subanta Padam. And what is the base word for Prathak Kale?
Pratah Kalah.
Two words here, right? Prataha and
Pratakalah.
Pratah Kala.
Pratah Kalah.
Pratah Kala.
Pratah.
Kala.
Then
Kala.
Kala only. So there are two words, but the two words are combined here to form a compound word, which is samasa. So let's think that as a single word here. Prathakale is a single word, and the base word for this is Prathakala. There is no visarga, because if you add a visarga, then it becomes Subantapadam. It is not the base word, because it has a vibhakti then. Prathakalaha. That means it is in Prathama vibhakti. So when it comes into vibhakti form, then it doesn't. It is not a Pratipadikam. It becomes a Subantam. The base word for that is Prathakala. Just like Rama, Balaka. These are base words or Pratipadikam for the derived words or the Subantam of those Pratipadikam. So every Pratipadikam will have a Vibhakti table, right? Vibhakti table, where is it? Vibhakti table, which I think all of you know this. So for example here, Ajanta Pullinga Shabdaha. So here we are given this Rama, Hari, Pati, Sakhi. These are all Pratipadikam. Means the base words for the Namapadam or Subantam. If you look at any of these tables, Vibhakti tables, then you see every Pratipadikam which is shown here on the top, like Rama Shabda is a Pratipadikam, and each Pratipadikam has this kind of table, which is 8x3 table, and any word here, you take Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, Rama, Ramo, Ramaha, etc. Every word is a Subantam here. Every word is a Namapadam, which you usually use that Namapadam to refer to this form, any form here in our day-to-day usage. But in grammar it is called Subantapadam, which is same as Namapadam. So it has a base in grammar like Rama, and all these forms are called Subantapadam. And note that in a Vakyam, only Subantapadam can be used. Pratipadikam cannot be used. Only Rama cannot be used. But one of these forms, which in the Vibhakti table, can be used in a sentence. That is a Paniniya grammar rule. there are many grammarians before and after also, but Paniniya grammar is more popular, and that's what we are referring to all the time. So these terms we are using, these are mostly, these are actually based on the Paniniya grammar. In other grammar systems also, other grammatical systems also, these words, these same technical terms may be there, may not be there, or the same same grammatical concept may be there, may not be there. When we say Pratipudicum is the base word for this table, that we are referring to, this is as per Paniniya grammatical structure, his system. So other grammatical structure may not use Pratipudicum. They just say something else, or it may not have also. So, but that is not the system we are currently studying. So we'll stick to Paniniya grammar and keep on using these terms. So you already know that each Subantha Padam has this kind of table, 3 columns by 8 rows, and each row is called a Vibhakti, Prathama, Ditiya, Tritiya, and so on, and there is a Sambodhanam additional. Basically, there are 7 Vibhaktis, Prathama to Saptami, and Sambodhan is an additional one, which is a sub Vibhakti can call, or it's a part of Prathama, or a slight change to Prathama only. It's considered part of same as Prathama only with some changes. Now, and the columns here are Vachanam, Ekavachanam, Dvivachanam, Bahuvachanam. Okay. And as you see here, the Pratipudicum could be ending in Swara or Vyanjanam. That is fine. But a Pratipudicum is not a Subantha Padam. It is just a Pratipudicum. Subantha Padam has to be one of these forms from this table. Now, what is the meaning of Pratipudicum? Why is it called Pratipudicum? Why it is called Subantham? Why is it called Tingantam? That is also important to know, right? Or at least interesting to know. So for starting with Pratipudicum, why is it called Pratipudicum? So every word in Sanskritam, it has some kind of etymology or meaning, underlying meaning in it. So we don't use it just because it is a word. So every word has some underlying etymological root there. A Vakyam has something root, and then Padam has some root, Varanaha has some etymological root, etc. We'll look at that later. Now, Pratipudicum, what is Pratipudicum? In the Pratipudicum, what word do you see here? One, do you see Prati and Pada, right? What are the different words make that Pratipudicum word itself? If you analyze that word, what do you see in that word? One is Prati, the other one is Padi. Right? So Prati and Padi, it sounds like Prati means Prati, like Prati. Like here, Prati, and then Padi. This is somewhat related to Pada. Right? So we have Pratipudicum word made up of 2 words, right? Prati and Pada. Together, Pratipada, and then something related to Pratipada is Pratipudicum. This is how the words are derived in Sanskritam. For example, if you take Dasharathi, so what is Dasharathihi? Dasharathihi is related to Dasharatha. From the word Dasharatha, the word Dasharathi is derived. Dasharathi means they are related to Dasharatha. Similarly, Jamadagni related to Jamadagni. Kausalleha, someone who is related to, not someone, actually the word is related to Kausalya, and similarly Vainateyaha, something related to Vinata. So here Pratipadikam, this word is related to or derived from Pratipada. Now, this is easy to understand, right? Now, Prati and Pada. What does Prati mean? Every. Each. And Pada, we know, it's a word. Right? So, every word. So, Pratipadam means every word. So, Pratipadikam means something related to every word. So, what does that mean? Every word means every Namapadam we have. It has, so this Pratipadikam is a base word. So, when we say Rama, for example, it has the quality or the concept of, or you say Nadi also, for example, Nadi or Balaka. When we utter that Pratipadikam, when we say that, pronounce that Pratipadikam, the base word itself, that has that concept embedded into it. It is so. This Pratipadikam is like a concept, or it's a idea behind that word, which is embedded into that base word. Nadi means we get that idea of that Nadi. What does it stand for? Balaka, what does that word stand for? Right? So we get that idea or the concept behind that Namapadam. So this Pratipadikam is that idea or the concept which is embedded into that word. So that's why it is called Pratipadikam. That means something which is embedded into that word. So the base word. So base word is called Pratipadikam here. So then the next is Subanthum. What is Subanthum? Why is it called Subanthum? Yes, somebody can explain here. Some of you already know this.
It has a sup pratyaya in the end.
Yeah. So this Subanthum is itself is a compound word. It is made up of two words, sup and antam. And it is also sandhi here, sandhi happening here. Sup plus a, when we add that together, becomes ba. Subantham. Subantham, sup antam, sup anta padam. The word ending in sup, the word which antam is ending, the word which ends in sup. Now, what is sup?
Pratyaya.
Sup pratyaya.
Sup pratyaya. Sup is a pratyaya, or what is a pratyaya? It is suffix. Now, what is pratyaya? That also you can find out the etymology later. So, not today. So, sup is also it is a pratyaya again in the Paniniya Vyakaranam. In this grammar, sup is the name given to a collection of pratyayas. It is not only single pratyaya, but it is a collection of pratyayas. Together, it is called sup. So, what is this sup here? Sup pratyaya is added to
Pratipadikam.
Andam.
Bhava can join in on it, David. Set now forever.
So, somebody joined. Yeah. Sorry. So, Subantham, sup plus antam. So, it is the sup one collection of pratyayas, and it is added to Pratipadikam. And then, as you see here, when it is added to Pratipadikam, it forms Subantham, means a Namapadam. So, every vibhakti here, Prathama vibhakti, Ditya vibhakti, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, every vibhakti and every vachanam has a different pratyaya. Right? So when we add pratyaya called Rama is a Pratipadikam, and when we add some pratyaya, some supratyas, how many supratyas are there? Or should be there?
21.
21.
21 supratyas, because each of the cell here, each of the position in this table has a supratyaya, different supratyaya. So together there are 21 supratyas. Together they are called supratyaya samoha, you can call it. So the first, they are different pratyaya actually. For every table position here, for example, prathama ekavachanam, dvivachanam, it is not the same supratyaya. There is a different pratyaya. For first one it is a su pratyaya, right? Su, and then there is au, then there is jas. So the pratyayas, they look like this individually. But together, the last one is actually sup only. So starting from the su and ending this pa. So total 21 from su to pa. In between there are different pratyayas are there for individual pratyayas for individual positions in this vibhakti table. Together there are 21 pratyayas, and each pratyaya has to be added to the Pratipadikam to derive that word here. Rama, Ramau, etc. Ramaha, Raman, etc. Each pratyaya has to be added. That is a grammatical process which you are not going to study in this class. So that is a grammatical process. For that there is again a different chapter is there in the Karakam. How to derive a word or a namapadam from Pratipadikam by adding a supratyaya. That is a different study, a different branch. Similarly, Tingantam also. Tingantam is a kriyapadam. For example, Gacchati. Gacchati is a kriyapadam. And this is also has a base called Dhatuhu, which are not written here. Dhatuhu. Dhatu is the verb root. Okay. Verb root is Dhatu. So then, so to this verb root, for example, in this case, the verb root is gam. So if you add some pratyaya, again a suffix, to bring it into this form as per the grammatical steps or the process. So that again there is a different branch of study in the grammar to derive the kriyapada rupam or tinganta rupam. Then there is samasa, we already know. And what is krudantam?
Krut prachayas ante.
Udaharanam kim, example. Let's start with the example first. Krudantam.
Tavatu dul prachaya.
No. The krudanta padasya udaharanam kim, not krut pratyaya.
Krudanta. Patitavan. Patitum. Tuman prachaya.
Right. Patitavan, patitum, patitaha, and
Patita.
many of the many of the words we use, they are already krutanta padam. Even Rama is krutanta padam. Ravana could be krutanta padam. So Rama is an example, like Bhitaha. So these are all krutanta padam. And why are they called krutanta padam? Because set of pratyas called krut pratyaya is added to what? Dhatu. Dhatu is a verb root, and to that a krut pratyaya is added to form a new word. It forms a new pratipadikam. Okay. For example, if you add ram is a dhatu and you add ghai pratyaya, then you get a Rama as a pratipadikam. Okay. So and to this Rama becomes a Pratipudicum. To this Pratipudicum, you can add a Supratyaya to form a Subantapadam. So that is the next step. But at least now you know what is meant by Krudantapadam. Krudantapadam is actually Namapadam only. It is a Subantapadam only. Krudantapadam is a subset of Subantapadam. Namapadam is or Subantam is all the Namapadam. All the nouns in the language, they fall under the Subantapadam, whatever it is. Uchchaihi, Nichaihi, Patitum, Patitavan, Patitva, Ramaha, Sita, Ramena, Mitraihi, Ramabhihi, Latabhihi, everything falls in this Namapada, in this Namapadam. Everything is Namapadam. And some of them could be Krudantapadam. Some of them. And Krudantapadam is derived originally from Dhatu. So having behind that now Karakani. What is Karakam? So in the next few classes, we are going to study the roles of words in a sentence, vibhakti examples, what is Karakam, which we are going to study, and different Karakani, different types of Karakas, and applying those vibhaktis for Karakani, and then what is Upapada vibhakti. We are going to see that in the next few classes. So what is Karakam? That is the question now. The word Karakam itself, what does it mean? So again, we'll take a simple sentence. Simple, for example, boy reads a book in house. Or a boy reads a book in his house. Jaya Bhagini. A boy reads a book in his house.
बालकः तस्य गृहे पुस्तकं पठति.
बालकः तस्य गृहे पुस्तकं पठति. This is the complete sentence, and in this sentence, what is the Kriya Padam?
Patati.
Patati.
Is there any other Kriya Padam in this sentence?
No.
No.
That means all others are Namapadam. There is Patati, which is a Kriya Padam, which is a Tinganta Padam, and all others are Subanta Padani. Which also brings this idea or the concept in a language that in a sentence, the Kriyapada word or Kriyapadam is the most important word in a sentence. It is the heart of a sentence. Again, there are various branches or shastrani, like there is a Vyakaranam is one of the shastram, but there are other shastras, Nyaya Shastra, like Mimamsa Shastra, etc. So they have their different concept for a Vakyam. This is just FYI. So we are again limiting ourselves to only Vyakaranam, Vyakarana Shastram, and that too only Paniniya Vyakarana Shastram. So tomorrow if you meet some Nayayika who is expert in Nyaya Shastram, he might argue or tell something different about Vakyam. What is a Vakyam? What is important in Vakyam? So that is different. So in that case, you should know that their opinion or philosophy is different than the grammarians or Vyakaranas. So now we are talking about grammar, Vyakarana Shastram. In this Vyakarana Shastram, Kriyapadam is the most important part of a Vakyam. So here Pathati is the important part. So around, because action, it indicates the action. Without action, there is no Vakyam. Every Vakyam has to have a Tinganta Padam. That is the Vyakaranasya one rule, you can say. And then, now around this Kriyapadam, the questions can arise, right? Like, who is doing that action, and where it is done, and on what it is done, etc. So around that Kriyapadam, there could be questions. And to support those questions, or to address those questions, different words come into picture. Right? For example, here Pathati is there. So the question immediately comes here, Kaha Pathati. Right? Who is reading? Who is doing that action in that sentence? Pathati. Kaha Pathati. So what is the answer here?
Balakaha.
Balakaha Pathati. Then similarly, there could be a question like, Kim Patati? What is he reading?
Pustakam Patati.
Pustakam Patati. Again, Kutra Patati? Where is he reading it?
Tasya Gruhe.
No, only Gruhe. Question is not. Just the question is Kutra. Gruhe Patati. Then the question can be Kasya Gruhe. Again.
Tasya
Gruhe. Patati. Balaka, in this sentence, there is a word Tasya. So we have Tasya as the word answering the question. Kasya Gruhe. Tasya Gruhe. So then, if you look at this Pathati, again Kriyapadam, and keep on asking the question, Kaha Pathati? We have Balaka Pathati. Kim Pathati? Pustakam Pathati. Kutra Pathati? Grihe Pathati. So these words, which are addressing different questions which are coming on the Kriyapadam, Pathati, these are the Karaka Padam. These are because they are defining, or they are having the relationship with the Kriyapadam here. So Kriyanvayi Karakam is one of the definitions we need to remember. What is Karakam? Kriyanvayi. Kriyanvayi means Anvaya. Kriya is action, and Anvaya means Sambandha, means relationship. The one which has a relationship with the Kriyapadam is called Karakam. The Karakam indicates the relationship between a Namapadam and a Kriyapadam. So Balakaha, Kaha Patati, Balaka Patati. So there is a relationship between Balaka and Patati, right? So then Pustakam Samri, Kim Patati, Pustakam Patati. There is some relationship, not the same relationship, but a different relationship between Pustakam and Patati. Grihe Patati, where in Grihe. So this is a different kind of relationship, or different role actually. So Balakaha word is having a different role in the sentence. Grihe is having a different role. Pustakam is having a different role in relationship with Patati. That is important. In relationship with the Kriyapadam. That is the underlining. In relationship is the underlining word here. Important. So they are all having a Karakam relationship with Patati. So Karakam actually derived from the word Karoti. Karoti iti Karakam. And what is Karoti? That Sambandham Karoti. Kriyapadasya Kriyapadena saha Sambandham Karoti iti Karakam. Sambandham Anvayati iti Karakam. So, okay, so now what about Tasya here? Tasya is the word here. Does it have any relationship with Patati? Or Kriyapadam is Patati here? what is the relationship of this word in this sentence?
Tasya is related to Grihe.
Grihe. Okay. Because when we ask the question, Kasya, we are not asking the question directly on the Patati. Right? We are not asking Kasya Patati. We are asking Kasya Grihe. So there is a relationship in Tasya and Grihe. So Tasya word has no relationship with Patati. So that is not a Karakam. So Balakaha, Grihe, Pustakam, no relationship directly with the Patati or a Kriyapadam is, they indicate Karakam, they have the Karakam relationship, but Tasya doesn't have the Karaka relationship with the Patati. So it is not called a Karakam here. So this was one.
Here Grihe also is not Karakam, no? So
Grihe is a Karakam, right? Grihe is a Karakam.
Grihe Patati.
Grihe Patati. Yeah. Where is the action happening? That is also important. Where? We are asking the question, where the action? Kutra Patati. This is a Karakam. Now, if you take this example here, where is that example? No.
Actually, nothing complicated.
Maybe you can read that later. So if you take this example here, Patram and Udaharanam, role and the example. You read this sentence here. Balakaha granthalaye syutat lekhakasya pustakam hastena mitraya dadati. Long sentence. But you get the idea. Boy gives an author's book from a bag with hand to a friend in library. In this sentence, giving you the action, dadati, dadati is the action here, or the kriyapadam. When a question comes, kaha dadati, balakah dadati. So there is a relationship. Then the kim dadati, what we are asking, pustakam dadati, kena dadati, hastena dadati, with his hand. He is using his hand. So this is also karakam. Then kasmai dadati, we are asking the question again on dadati. Fourth, mitraya, sorry, that is a vibhakti. Then mitraya dadati, that is again a karakam. Kasmat dadati, from where it is giving it, syutat, taking it out from the bag. Then kasmin dadati, where is that action taking place? That giving action. It is taking place in granthalaye. So that is also a karakam. But when we ask kasya, we don't ask kasya dadati, we ask kasya pustakam, or kasya could be anywhere, like kasya syutat, kasya granthalaye, kasya hastena, kasya mitraya. So this kasya could be on any other namapadam, or kasya balakaha. So here kasya question doesn't come on kriyapadam, it comes on a different other namapadam here. So that is not a karakam. So this is the basic effort. And as you see here, for these different words which coming as a karakam here, means in relationship with the kriyapadam, we are using different vibhakti, right? Balaka, balakaha, when we say, that is in the prathama vibhakti. So to answer the word kaha, and which comes the answer word, that will be in the prathama vibhakti. Then that means to indicate that role, who is performing that action, we are applying the prathama vibhakti, or we are using the word which is in prathama vibhakti. So remember, understand the difference between this karakam and the vibhakti here. Karakam is not same as the vibhakti. So those are two different things. Karakam is the relationship and vibhakti is the suffix. Vibhakti is the grammatical suffix. It's just a grammar. You can think of it some artificially fabricated suffix. So Pratipudicum is also some artificially fabricated base word, right? When we say Balaka, Balaka is a Pratipudicum, and we want to make it or bring it into the form Balakaha, which is the actual word which is used in the language. Only Balaka Pratipudicum is not used. Balakaha is used in the language. So Balakaha is the natural one, which is the language. So in the grammar sets it as a one Pratipudicum, and to derive it into Balakaha, which can be used in a language, then it comes up with something called pratyaya, suffix or vibhakti, and then there are some steps. Pratipudicum plus vibhakti is equal to this balakaha or namapada. Now, so that is the vibhakti. So when you say balaka, balaka is the Pratipudicum, and then there is a pratyaya prathama vibhakti ekavachana. This is what we want to come to, balakaha. So we add su to it. Su is the first prathama vibhakti ekavachana pratyaya. So then it goes through different steps, which is again a different topic, and then ultimately it comes to balaka, which we can use it in a sentence like this. So what is the difference between karakam and vibhakti? Vibhakti is this. Okay? This is vibhakti pratyaya. And what is karakam? Karakam is the relationship of that namapadam with the kriyapadam. So what kind of relationship it is having now? Balaka with the dadati here in this example. Balakaha dadati. What is the relationship? What kind of relationship is there in this sentence? So we have to give some name to this relationship, right? So every word has a kind of relationship or plays a role in a sentence, and we will come up with a name for that role in this for each relationship, for a role here. So here balakaha dadati. So balaka is a performer of that action. So it is a performing role. So to this role, the name is, in English it's called subject, right? Subject role. So balakaha is the subject here, or if that is a karakam, and in Sanskritam it is called karta. Karta means the doer. Karta is a doer. The relationship is kartru karakam. The base word for karta is in kartru. So use kartru karakam. So karta is a karakam, and together it is called kartru karakam. The relationship is that of karta or subject between that namapadam and that kriyapadam dadati. Similarly, the next one is, what is the next one? Kim dadati balakaha pustakam dadati. Now we have to give some identify this role between pustakam and dadati and name that relationship. What is the name for the relationship here?
Kim dadati.
Kim dadati is the question. And what is the name for the relationship? So this relationship is called karma.
Karma.
And this pustakam is called karma padam, because it has a relationship of karma with dadati. And here balaka is called kartrupadam, because it has a relationship of karta with the dadati. And here it is karma relationship. Similarly, each relationship here, they are named here. So when we ask kena, It is hastena, because hastena is being used. It is helping, right? It is also helping in this performing the action. All these words are helping to perform the action. So if you look at balakaha, balaka is the main person, right, in that action. So it is also, but he is the main helper there. Main helper means to perform that action. And again, pustakam is also part of, or being part of that action, helping that to perform the action. So then similarly, hastena is helping to perform the action. So that it is kind of instrument here. Using the means of hand. Using the hand, the action is performed. So this relationship is called karana. So this is karana padam, or relationship is karana or karana karakam, or simply karanam is the sadhanam or instrument. But karakam is karana karakam. Relationship is that of instrument, karanam. And then or upakaranam, sadhanam. Then similarly, kasmai, to whom it is giving, he is giving, balak is giving, to whom? Mitraya dadati. So mitraya is also helping that action here. So this relationship, this kind of relationship is called sampradhanam. So you already know what is dhanam. Dhanam is giving. Dhanam is giving. Sampradhanam is the name given for this kind of relationship. Sampradhana Karakam. Because something is receiving. That something is which is given here. The same next one here, Kasmat Dadati. This is Syutat Dadati. So this is also helping in that action here. Syutat Dadati. Again, these roles, different helpers are there. They may not do the exactly, they may not have the same importance, but they do have the importance in performing that action. Then from where? From a bag. So Sanskrita padamastyatra syutat dadati, syutat. So which is coming in the Panchami Bhakti. And this kind of relationship is called Apadhana. Apadhana Karakam. This kind of relationship is called, a Karakam is called Apadhana Karakam. What is Apadhana again? We know Dana, right? Which was there previously. Dhanam is giving. Then Adana, Apam is taking away or going away. Yeah? Apagachati, like that, Apagachati. So this is Apadhana, taking away. Apadhana, or moving away. So this is that kind of relationship. Because this in the perform, when you perform this giving action or dadati, that pustaka, which is the object here, is going away, right? Apadhana. Going away from where? From the from something. So that is the apadhana relationship. Then kasya, again it is not a karakam because it is not directly having any relationship or helping dadati. It is helping here with the pustakam here. Lekha kasya pustakam. It is not participating in the action of dadati. Then we have this last one, kasmin. This is related to dadati, because granthalaye, again participating in the action here. So granthalaye dadati. So this relationship is called adhikaranam. Adhikarana. Adhikarana is basically ashraya or support or location. So this action, the dadati giving action, is happening in Granthalaya here to indicate that relationship where the action is happening. We are using the Saptame Bhakti on that word to indicate the relationship of Adhikarana. So Adhikarana Karakam. So we'll stop here, but in summary, the different types of roles which are played by different namapada in a vakyam in relationship with kriyapadam is called karakam. And to indicate that relationship or to karakam, we add different vibhakti pratyaya to the pratipadikam of that namapada. That is the summary here. Now, how many karakas are there? As we saw just now, that is
6 karakas.
Karta, karma, karanam, sampradhanam, apadhanam, adhikaranam. So there are 6 karakam, and each one of them, like for karta, to indicate karta, as we saw, different vibhakti pratyayas are used to indicate the that relationship. And there is a karika. Karika means a short shloka, I can say. If you want to remember the 6 karakas as a shloka, this one is there. Karta, karma cha, karanam cha, sampradhanam tathaiva cha. Apadhana adhikarane chetyahuh karakani shat. Iti shat karakani santi. So sounds like Karaka study is over. But what we are going to study in the next maybe 5 or 6 classes is that what is Karta and all these different Karakas in detail, their examples, and some, when we look at the examples and how they are defined actually, and different vibhakti pratyayas are used for these, and their examples again. And when we study, you see that there are some examples or sentences wherein, when we saw here the simple example of this one, this is simple, very easy to understand this sentence, but there could be, when we come across many sentences, balakaha balaka uchchaihi asati, balaka sundaram likati. So these kind of sentences in these words could be sometimes they're confusing, though they are used in Ditya Vibhakti, Tritiya Vibhakti, etc. So those examples we are going to take up and see why they are used in that Vibhakti, though they do not look like karma or karana, etc. So those examples we are going to study. And then we have this Upapada, something called Upapada Vibhakti, how they differ from this Karaka. Then those examples also we will take up. So overall what happens is, when we understand this Karaka Prakaranam or Karaka subject, then our understanding of usage of sentence becomes very clear. Then even if there are some doubts, when we read a sentence, that becomes clear why it is used, and also especially when we are speaking or talking, and then how to use a particular word in which vibhakti, depending on its karakam, that also becomes much clearer. Okay.
Mahodaya, one question.
Yeah. Yes.
So if Karakam, the definition of Karakam is, it describes the relationship with the action. How do we define Vibhakti then? Like, what's the relationship, and how do we define Vibhakti?
Yeah. So, anybody? Shobha, Vigni, you want to help?
Tatra, how do we define Vibhakti? Vibhakti's relationship is with the Karta. And so how to define it.
Define is just a difference. What is the difference between Karakam and Vibhakti?
So here what we just learned is that in Karakam, except Shashti Vibhakti, all the other Vibhaktis are related to the Kriya Padam. Karta, Karma, then Karanam, Sampradhanam, Apadhanam, Adhikaranam. They are all related to Kriya Padam. But except Shashti is related to Karta, and it does not answer the question of what is being done in relation to the Kriya. It has to do with the Karta. So Vibhaktis are related to the Karta himself. For example, if we take Rama, there it goes into Prathama Ramaha iti, just indicating Rama. Then it goes to Rama something is happening, Ramam, Ramena. Through Rama something is being done, Ramaya something is being given or offered, Panchami from him, Ramat kimapi bhavati, Ramasya iti tatra. So, but then again these other than Shashti, the other Vibhaktis are coming in Karakam also. So,
yeah. Right. So, couple of things here. Dhanyawad Bhagini. So, couple of things here. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Just wanted to clarify or add to it. These are, one thing is that, okay, let me take a step back. So, Raghumadaya, first of all, let's say, what is Karakam? Have you understood that?
Yes.
What is it?
Karakam describes the relationship between the Namapadam and the Kriyapadam.
And what is Vibhakti? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, Vibhakti is not a relationship. Vibhakti is the suffix or the pratyaya which is added to Pratipudicum.
But isn't it sup pratyaya then?
Yeah, it is a sup pratyaya. Vibhakti is a sup pratyaya. Right?
I got a doubt, something connected with this.
So,
this Vibhakti. Here what I just understood is Karta is Prathama and Karma is in Dvidiya, Karanam is in Tridiya, Sampradhanam is Chaturthi, Apadhanam is Panchami, and Adhikaranam is Shashti. Is it...
no, Adhikaranam is Saptami.
Understood is correct?
Adhikaranam is Saptami. Shashti, there is no...
Adhikaranam is Saptami. So what is Shashti, sir?
So here you understand the difference, right? So when you say Karta is Prathama, Karma is Dvitiya, it is not is. So understand this. When we say Karta is means what we are saying equal to, right? Prathama, then Karma is Dvitiya. So this is not correct. What we are saying is not the correct usage here. We should not say is. What we are saying is Karta relationship is indicated or brought out by adding the Prathama Vibhakti to the Pratipudicum. Similarly, Karma Karakam or Karma relationship is brought out by adding Dvitiya Vibhakti or Dvitiya Vibhakti Pratyaya to the Pratipudicum. Karana relationship is brought out or indicated by adding the Tritiya Vibhakti Pratyaya to the Pratipudicum and so on.
So, Mahoday, the Supratyaya and the Vibhakti are the same?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Vibhakti Pratyaya is Supratyaya in case of Namapadam.
Okay, that's clear.
Now, Now the other thing is, so coming to Shashti here, so this is all right. So you can say karta karanam, or relationship is indicated by adding prathama vibhakti to Pratipudicum, similarly, and so on. So then we go to Panchami. Apadhana relationship is brought out by adding the Panchami vibhakti to Pratipudicum, and Adhikarana Karakam, that locative, right? Adhikarana is location or ashraya, which is that relationship is brought out or indicated by adding Saptami Vibhakti Pratyaya to a Pratipudicum. But what about Shashti? Either a relationship we can say this relationship is brought out by adding the Shashti Vibhakti to the Pratipudicum. No. When we say relationship, we are talking about the relationship with the Kriyapadam. So all these relationships we are talking with the Kriyapadam, relation to Kriyapadam, Karta relationship with the Kriyapadam, Karma relationship with the Kriyapadam, and so on. So Saptami also Adhikarana relationship with Kriyapadam. So he is brought out by adding the Saptami Vibhakti Pratyaya. But when we say Shashti, we don't have any relationship with the Kriyapadam there. The Shashti Vibhakti is added to Namapadam to bring out or to indicate the relationship with another Namapadam, not with the Kriyapadam. Okay? The Shashti Vibhakti is also added. These are also added to a Namapadam only. But when we add that Shashti Vibhakti Pratyaya to a Pratipudicum, that doesn't indicate or bring out the relationship with the Kriyapadam. It brings out the relationship with another Namapadam in a sentence. Right? So that is that kind of relationship which is not with the Kriyapadam, it is not called Karakam. Okay? That is why we have only 6 Karakam here. Though there are 7 Vibhakti Pratyayas, but Shashti Vibhakti Pratyaya is not indicating any Karakam or any relationship with the Kriyapadam. So there are only 6 kind of relationships possible between Namapadam and Kriyapadam. Okay?
Okay.
One question there, Mohde. Danam is the act of giving. When exactly do we call it Sampradhanam?
Yeah, so this is what actually we are going to study. Sampradhanam is Samyak Pradhanam. There are 2 things here, Sam and Pra also. Dhanam is just giving. So there is Pra, which means giving it nicely, right? Sampradhanam, yes, giving it nicely and definitively. So these have certain meanings behind them for Karakam. So when we study this Sampradhana Karakam, we'll understand that.
Okay. Dhanyawad.
Yeah. That means we have to be very sure that we are giving it out. Means when we do Dhanam, we don't want to take it back. So you are certain that you are letting it go.
Likewise,
that kind of.
Likewise, the Adhikarana, can you just analyze how that Adhikarana, how it is, I didn't understand this. Karana is okay, I understood. Adhikarana, what is it, Adhikarana?
So Karana is doing. Now Adhi is a prefix here. Adhi prefix is used to indicate the location itself. For example, some of you already know some sentences like this. Samudram adhishete, like Harihi, Narayana, Samudram adhishete. Adhishete means, he lives in the, or sleeps in the water, or the ocean. In, so that adhi is a special suffix or upasarga used to indicate in.
So going by that logic, Mahoday, Adhipati is where is the origin in Adhipati?
Yeah, we can analyze that. Yeah, I can analyze that, but that's some other time.
Yeah, I'll save my questions for next time.
Yeah, save it. I know that, but Adhipati, you know that first you have to know the meaning of Pati, right? then adhi. Yeah, like then
adhikari.
Adhikari, adhikara also. Take this adhikara word. What is adhikara?
Power.
So we think that it is a power or ability to do it, right? One is power to do it, and the other is ability to do it, or yogyata, for example. So in that also adhikara is there. When we say to read the Veda patanaya adhikara. So what does that mean? Adhikara means, is it the power to read the Vedas or to study the Vedas?
Arhata.
Arhata. So is it arhata? So that adhikara means kartum yogyata asti tasmin iti adhikara. Kartum yogyata is important there, not like adhikara. Just because I have a power to read it or doesn't mean I have to I can read the Vedas. I have to have the arhata also. Arhata to study that, something, not only Vedas and study. Arhata to study engineering, arhata to study medicine, whatever. So we'll have to have that eligibility to study something, that is adhikara. Okay. Dhanyavada. Punarmilama. So next week, just FYI, I